I have a totally different perspective because, me being a Christian, and I've never dated a saved guy before. There's trouble there, lots of trouble, and kind of to take a snippet from what he said. You're saved. First of all, the Bible would say, not to be unequally yoked. And here you are in a relationship, or attempting to be in a relationship with somebody that they do not care for the things that you care about. You wanna, of course, let God be the leader in your relationship. And this person is gonna say, hey, I don't really do a ranking of people that are important in my life. Like, I'm not going to say, you first, or a kid first, or God first, or whatever. But for me, it's like, no, God got to definitely be the head, honey.
It's true.
So it's like an unsaved person not caring for the things that you care about. And like Hannah just said, I guess I was the super saved person because, I'm the saved person in the relationship. So for me, it's like everything is like, okay, I got to pray about this, and I got to do this, and I got to go on fasting, and, not really even being vocal with the person that I'm with, because heck, I know they don't necessarily, subscribe to that kind of thing, even though they grew up in church and was a church boy or a son of a pastor and whatnot, but they don't subscribe to the level of spirituality that I'm subscribed to. So, everything is like, very non-precise, non-spiritual. Okay. So it's, everything is dealt with on a non-spiritual level, whereas I'm trying to deal with things on a spiritual level. So it's been very hard. Even for me as a Christian, when it comes to things like intimacy and whatnot, an unsaved guy ain't gonna care nothing about that. Ain't gonna care nothing about purity. Ain't gonna care nothing about, the whole works, the whole 9 yards. It's just he thinks a relationship should be, which is from the point of view of the world. So
can I ask you a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So when you are picking the guys that are not saved, what makes you want to, continue a relationship with someone who isn't saved?
Well, to be very frank, I'm not dating right now. But before, I was at a point in my Christian walk with God where I was like on the fences struggling. So for me it was like, okay, I see everybody else, their lives working out, even though they're not under the banner of Christianity. So why can't I do the same and God just work it out for me? So okay, I'm dating an unsaved guy, and nothing wrong with that. I'm just gonna, dibble and dabble a little bit and just hope that God brings it home for me, So yeah.
And this is for other women that are going through the same thing you're going through. So that's why I asked that question.
Yeah. I appreciate the question. It's, that's what we're here for.
I got a question. I want to piggyback on that. Let's say.
Remember, this is not an interview.
It's not. Hey, listen. I'm just curious though. Let's say I am a sinner and we are in church, and I did see someone that I was attracted to, and because I'm a sinner and because you're saved, could there be a level where we can guide each other and build on that, or do I have to be saved? You have to be saved, and that's the way. I know we said unequally yoked. I'm sorry, but can we build and let God? I'm just saying.
This is what I heard. You cannot minister to somebody that you're attracted to. Like you, like saved and unsaved, and you're trying to minister to them. And I'm going to be the first one to tell you that it don't work. Okay. And when I say that, like in the form of, okay, we're going to be in a relationship, but I'm going to attempt to minister to you, and I'm going to come over and do Bible study and whatnot and what, no, baby, you don't work.
Bible study. Okay, we ain't studying the Bible.
So yeah, that's a little 2 cents for now.
So what if this saved guy you're talking to, but what if the sinner had more potential than that saved guy? Wow.
Good question.
Anybody want to take that one?
Good question.
Well, from my perspective, I think, well, to answer this question, I think, the Bible talks about in 1 Corinthians, I forgot the chapter, like 7 or 8, Paul talks about how God still honors if you being with the spouse, God honors it, even if they're not saved. So from my perspective, I think the way I see it is, you want to be with somebody that really, it kind of functions the way you do. For instance, I'm not going to get with an unsaved girl because God is a part of my life too much. You won't even know who I am if you don't know God. Now that doesn't mean that somebody else, might have the same, same girl and everything will be fine. No, I was dating this one girl, and we couldn't be together because I chose not to be together because I feel like God can honor anything, you know what I'm saying? But I chose not to be with her because she was saying that in that point of her life, she just did not. She knows what it means to live for God and live in God, but at that point of her life, she just wasn't doing it. So there was a lot about her that I loved everything about her. I did. I genuinely loved everything about her, knew her for years. But because that's not where I was going, there was nothing wrong with her, but that's just not, because of where I was going, I know that it would have been unfair to her. One thing that my dad was saying too, and I'll stop and pass the mic to somebody else. But one thing my dad was saying, my brother was getting with his wife now. She used to do Lion King on Broadway in New York. So my dad told him, don't marry her if you want a stay-at-home wife and she is doing the play, because it's not fair to her. You know what I'm saying? So I look at it as, okay, if a person's life is like this, even though I might not agree with some of the things they do, but it's not fair to them to take them out of a situation that God could probably be working out for his own good in the future. But based on it not being right for me, I say, oh, this person's wrong, when, everybody has their own walk. So I think for me, it stems off of, okay, how is my life? And is it fair for even though I'm trying to live a righteous life, is it fair for that person, for me to put my lifestyle on her, even though I might be trying to do what's right?
Okay, so the question was the comparison between dating and courting.
Yes.
I think they're twin sisters. I feel like if I'm courting you, I'm courting you so that we can date, we can make sense of this potential relationship. We're both good candidates, and courting and dating to me they're one and the same. I will say this: courting is the getting to know phase. I'm trying to understand, your temperament. I'm trying to discern, is this somebody that I could, potentially spend the rest of my life with, versus the dating phase, like we're actually considering ourselves an item. So I do think they're twin sisters, but I think they have their similarities and differences, if that makes sense. Did I confuse anyone?
No, I just didn't know there was a difference between courting and dating.
Well, like courting, you're not together. Dating, like you'd be together, but like courting is kind of like you're still trying to figure out, like, oh, do you really want to be with this person, or you're already with the person and you're just getting to know them more to see, is this the type of person that I want? So like courting, like you said, it's like a twin, but the only difference is that you're just like getting to know the person on a friend level. Dating, you're knowing them already in that relationship level, and then you're dating.
So I think I was just trying to really ask a question to you guys. Okay, I was just trying to, see what y'all had to say. But I mean, it was definitely great things that were said. But I do think there could be, when it comes to courting and dating, I feel like a lot of young people kind of rush the dating portion of it and don't necessarily court. And in my opinion, I just think that courting can definitely help in a situation, especially to court for a while. I don't think you should really court with okay, yeah, I've kind of been talking and whatnot with her for a week or two and now we're dating, or however long now we're dating. I think that dating can cause more of a confusion than courting can. And I think with courting, you're kind of, of course, getting to know the person and, hanging out with the person. But I do think there's a lot of things that you will realize quickly in courting that you could have avoided if you guys did not rush into the dating process of everything. So I think just in general, since we are talking to young leaders, and I do think it's important when we're talking about relationships to talk about the getting to know each other stage, just like you were mentioning with dating, people who are not necessarily saved, and like you were also mentioning too, just the women that you have dated. It's just that you guys are on different pages. Definitely that courting stage, I think, should be a pretty long time, just because you're getting to know who it is that you have the potential to actually build with and stay with for marriage or whatever the case is, versus jumping into the dating aspects of things.
So are we talking about dating as in like boyfriend, girlfriend?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Because no, I thought that dating was first, then
in a
courting.
relationship. I'm sorry.
In a relationship. Okay,
yeah.
just making sure. Because if I'm dating somebody, I might go on a couple dates with them, but I
but you're
mean,
not.
I wouldn't consider it courting either. You know what I mean? I'm just getting to know. Got you. Okay, it's relationship. Just making sure.
What was said was true for me, and that's one thing I struggle with. I can say, I guess I was focused more on, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. All of us, many of us, if you will, went through the I'm getting to know you phase in the first week, and the second and third week. You know, we get to know each other. Next thing you know, we're in a relationship. You know, less than a month of really dissecting. You know, God, this is something that you sent me, or God, this is something that somebody I can be with to help build your kingdom. You know. I know there are certain habits and behaviors that we can break, but jumping in a relationship too soon just to co-sign on that, there's repercussions for it. And I'm not saying that God can't make a way, and this is my opinion, you know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm just saying allowing God the time to build you and to clear old thoughts and habits that I battle with would save frustration for the next person I'm trying to encounter. And that took a journey. And still being delivered from it. You know, so that's something that is an eye opener for me. So if I was to give a message to anyone, I would say allow God to use you. Be patient. No need to rush, because we have all the time there is. You know, and it's a testimony you can give to the next person and the next man and the next woman, so they can really keep what God has and know what it is that God has for them. You know, that's my take on it.
I like what you said. What you said. It was very true. I think sometimes, of course, dating too fast can definitely cause a lot of confusion and distraction. And also, I think it is important when you are courting to know that the person that you're trying to be with is going to be able to help you build your assignment. Now, your assignment that you're doing typically changes throughout your seasons of your life, of course, but you do want to make sure whoever you're with is going to be equally yoked to help you benefit in areas that you need work in, or areas that you're trying to improve in and grow in.
Equally yoked. Like, that has been something that I've thought about even very recently, in the past couple of weeks or so. And I think about, there are always more seasoned folks, probably married or so, that will say to you, do not be unequally yoked, so on and so forth. But when you look at their life, it's like, but you did marry somebody that didn't know God when you were, and it worked out for you. So, why are you so hard and fast on the whole being unequally yoked part? Because I want to date that guy and he's not saved, but I'm praying about it, And like, I think somebody asked the question, what if the person who's unsaved has more potential per se than the person than the person that is saved? And it kind of drew me back to, first of all, the word of God cannot, lie, or God doesn't lie or anything. And, the scripture does say, do not be unequally yoked. But there are just some things that will work in a way. Sometimes I feel you cannot overthink it too much. For example, remember Hosea. Now, God told that man to go and marry a harlot. Because that was the ministry that was supposed to be brought forth between that union. Their marriage was to testify of Israel's idolatry and whatnot. And I think about it like, okay, God, you do some things. You do some things.
Some strange, but
you do some things. So help me out. Am Am I to just let go and let God, or am I to try to calculate and figure out everything and make sure? Well, of course, I want to be in alignment and not in rebellion to your word. But at the same time, I do see instances where you work in such a way that it still benefits the believer and it works out for their good. So as a young Christian that is, I guess, in the world of dating and anticipating marriage soon or whatnot, okay, well, are you going to work anything special for me over here? Or should I just hold on to that word of not being unequally yoked? So
I got something to say to that.
Okay, man.
Okay. So I think also too, unequally yoked is not necessarily about what I have and what you don't have. I think it's about more of what you're capable of. So right now you could be meeting somebody that technically are not as saved or as holy as you are, but are they capable of becoming that and doing that? And I think too, sometimes people look more of what you can do for me or what you can bring to the table as of right now. But if you are capable of working and growing on yourself and being able to, make a way the same way I would, or this, then I feel like that's still also equally yoked, even though you don't have what I have, or you're able to, do what I do, as long as you're capable of actually getting there one day. I think that's important.
But do you date capability, or do you date what you see in front of you?
No, you're right. You don't necessarily date capability. You do date. Well, actually, hold on. That's where I was asking about the whole courting situation. Okay, so again, we're getting to know this person. We're getting to know their morals, their values, what they care about, what they're interested in, how they are. Are they somebody who will actually learn and grow? Are they somebody who are willing to be open and transparent with where they came from versus where they're trying to go? It's all about, again, getting to know somebody. So technically we are dating for, what we see. But at the same time, if you're showing me that you are able to learn and grow and move and build yourself, then that is still your capability. You're still able to do that in the future. It's just something that you have not completely conquered right now. Mm-hmm. So it's still capability, but at the same time, it's still what I see right now. Does that make sense? It's both.
It's both. It's absolutely both.
It's both.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's what you're capable of, but what you're doing right now too. Like, show me it. Okay, sorry about that. I got a little passionate about that one.
I would say, as far as like unequally yoked, it could be fun and all till the trouble comes.
Mm.
Like, it's comfortable, but God does not want us to be comfortable. So you can be unequally yoked. Yeah, you can go on dates. Yeah, you can go have fun. Yeah, you can go travel the world. But when you're in that state of like spiritual warfare, can you go in a prayer room and pray for me? Can you get on your knees and pray for me? Can you pray over me? Not just for me, but can you pray over me? So unequally yoked can't really give you what God wants your partner to be able to give you. So you never want to be in a situation of comfortability. Don't be unequally yoked if you know at the end of the day they cannot give you what God has ordained for them to give.
Come
you.
on.
If that makes sense.
Y'all spitting bars right now, man. They spitting bars. Yeah, man,
okay.
I was just reminiscing and speaking of the dating and the courting and are we together for, was it capability? For that, and even for resources, it's a matter of why God I think it's why God put this person in your life. And I got to be transparent. There were moments where I'm thinking in my past that I'm meant to be with this person, but it wasn't meant for me to be with this person. She had an assignment, lead me to my word, and it was time for her to go. So you really have to gauge it. God, you have me in this season of building something. So I'm so quick to jump the gun. No, God, he's taking my one weakness and using that to slowly build so I can destroy these old attributes that I had. So what you all are saying is making sense. It's just now coming into fruition. So I agree. The unequally yoked is all fun and games till it's really starting to, can you warfare and intercede for me? And can I do the same for you, Just like your spirit man working, bro. Your spirit man cooking. You want the mic? I'm just being funny, dog.
Well, yeah. Well, it's going back to unequal yoke. Yeah, I think you can even be unequally yoked with a Christian. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily just somebody who's saved or unsaved, but even Christians, because just what the term was talking about. Any decisions that pull you away from doing whatever God is telling you to do. And so that's my belief too. I mean, there's plenty of times. That's my belief too. But I do have a question. So what do you guys say about the people that you might come into your life and you do see the potential that everything's right, you're yoked with them, but maybe it's not your right person, but everything else checks out? What do you say to that? And there's nothing wrong with the person, but
How would you determine that they're not the right person?
Okay, well, for instance, I'll give you a story. So a while ago, I thought this girl was my wife. I was like 21. So I talked to her for a whole year, right? And unfortunately, I thought a few girls were my wife. Just a heads up. Going on this story down to my life.
Honestly.
Yeah. Anyway, so I talked to this girl for a year, but everything was right. She was coming to herself with Christ and all this stuff. I didn't really even necessarily tell her that I liked her like that. I just was like there. And then what God showed me was after that year, I literally helped her along with her own Christian walk. That's it. That's all I was there. Just like you said, I was there because sometimes you have to realize you're not always the main character. Sometimes you're just there to help somebody else and their story, and then God pulls you out. Another time there was this person, I didn't think she was my wife at all, but God had me in her life. I feel like God has, in my life personally, he deals with me with friendship, evangelism, really heavy. So this girl, she wasn't living right at all, but for some reason God just happened, like anytime she asked about the Bible, I was there. Anytime she wanted to talk, just all this stuff. And eventually one of my friends moved to where she's at, and I told her them to connect. That was like 2 years ago. And she just started going to the same church and turned her life around recently. And so they're going to the same church after like 2 months. And I just thought it was crazy because it's like, that's exactly who I was trying to, connect her with. So she messaged me after a long time saying that she thanks me for not like ever asking anything of her and all that stuff. But she really saw that God's love was shown through me, So sometimes I feel like, there, like I said, even going back to the first one, everything checked out for her. She was my type, it was this, but for some reason, God put something in me to not even try to pursue anything because eventually, like a couple months after that, year or two, she even got engaged. So I literally was there just to push her along. And so just something like that.
Wow. You ain't gotta date everybody.
Yeah.
You ain't gotta date everybody. I know you want a husband and I know you want a wife, but you ain't gotta date everybody. No.
It just sucks sometimes, man. I won't say that it sucks sometimes because, our flesh, we have our wants and God knows it, but it's, again, I'm in this person's life for a reason and a purpose. And you don't want to overthink the process like Kayon said, but at the same time, you don't want to go in not knowing what it is that you're going to do, like Unique said. And then you want to come in unequally yoked, like you said. And then you don't want to go in thinking that you marrying somebody that's not your first intended to be yours, like you said. So it's like, okay, God, really, well, it's a discipline, first of all, to walk in faith. Because you're not just going based on what you see. I understand that. It's just taking into reassurance that this person may just be here to propel me forward, or you're here to propel this person forward, and to watch people in your life flourish and get married. And I think you touched on this, I believe. And watch them come up while you're still here. It's like, okay, God, where is my blessing? Like I'm here building your and you're working in the kingdom. We're all in ministry. We all serve in ministry. And it's like, okay, God, what gives? But sometimes like the Baptist, John the Baptist I may not be the man, but you may be the man that points to the man, So being on stage and preaching, sometimes, okay, let me get the mic, Pastor, but it wasn't my time. I'm just the man that points to the man, Armor Bearers, you as well. You're instrumentalist, and you following him in the spirit. And and every time I look at you, you're on cue. I'm looking at him and I'm looking at you. Come on, Doc, we just gonna roll with it. I know what time it is, So it's just that shift, understanding that I just may not be, at least in this season, I may not be all that I want. God may not bless me with what I'm asking for in this season because he knows there's some things behind the scenes that I need to shave off. And it's accepting that and understanding that it's okay that God has you in this waiting phase, So that's what I mean when I said it sucks. But it's a reasonable explanation as to why. So, I didn't mean to rant.
No, you're very good. You just did something about shaving off whatnot, and the question like popped up in my head because it has many times. You know, you've been praying for a husband and this and that and whatnot, but are you prepared to be a wife? You know, like, or are you prepared to be a husband? Are you prepared for the challenges that come with that? Because I mean, just like how God instituted marriage and he has a purpose for your marriage, a ministry for your marriage, you better believe that Lucifer guy, he got a plan too. So what are you gonna do when, you know, start looking like husband and kind of like enjoying somebody else's company more than yours? What are you gonna do? Are you gonna throw in the towel and whatnot when you know you went and made a vow and said that the two became one? You know, what are you gonna do? So in your season or in my season, because I'm encouraging myself, in the season of waiting and processing and going through, I think one of the things that the Bible encourages us to do is to be content and just be thankful and let God. I mean that at this point it's the only thing that I have left to do, God, because you know I've tried everything else. So so I don't know. Unique, you want to say something?
Yes. I definitely think what you just said there was like really, really good. Like that was really, really a good point. I do think too, it's like, you know, if you are praying for something, you're not ready for it, then, you know, you can mishandle, in a sense, your blessing. You know, because God's going to answer your prayers all the time. And if you're constantly doing that, then it's a possibility that, you know, what you're asking for will show up, but you're not ready for that. And I do think also too, it's just like, I think it is important to focus on yourself in a sense so much to where you will be ready and actually be capable of being everything that you're praying for. If you're praying for a husband, pray to be a good wife, rather. Pray to be someone who you will want to marry, you know. Work on yourself and make sure that you are that type of person that you will basically marry yourself, you know, versus praying for someone else and, oh, I want this and I want that. Just want better for yourself and it will come. God will be able to do that for you. So yeah.